Well, and here we are at week 6 of the 1970 NFL season replay using Pro Strategy Football 2023, which is available on Steam right now. We're using a historical season, one of many historical seasons that are available as a free download from the mod community. They have seasons starting in 1940 and going all the way to week 1 of this season. So you have tons of seasons to load into the game and enjoy. And again, they're all free downloads created by the mod community. They're not part of the game itself. So hat tip to the mod community for designing some incredible content. So looking at our schedule, we have a rainy game down in Atlanta. New Orleans versus Atlanta is our first game. The winless Boston Patriots go to Baltimore to play the Colts. The 3-2 Detroit Detroit Lions are at Wrigley Field, and it's a cold one, 39 degrees. It's super windy and it's snowing. That should be an interesting game. The Philadelphia Eagles are on their way to meet up. Excuse me. And play the Packers in Lambeau. The struggling Dallas Cowboys go to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. At one time, that would have been considered a Lone Star Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs were originally the Dallas Texans, and during the first year of actually, I think it was the second year of the AFL. Kansas City, or the Texans, decided to vacate Dallas and move to Kansas City. And from there on out, are known as the Chiefs. Cleveland is visiting Miami. LA is headed into kind of frosty conditions in Minnesota. That's a matchup of two 4-1 teams. The surprising Buffalo Bills, with their win over the Dolphins last week, are headed to New York. Joe Namath is going to be out for the rest of the season with... historically, he had I believe, a hand injury, and Al Woodall replaced him at quarterback. So Namath only played the first 5 games of the season and then was on the shelf. So to simulate 70 as accurately as possible, Al Woodall will be starting the majority of the remaining games. The surprising first place St. Louis Cardinals heading and playing an interdivisional game against the New York Giants. Pittsburgh is out at Oakland playing the Raiders in the Coliseum. The Oilers travel out of the Astrodome to San Diego, where they will encounter rain. Let's see how Houston handles Mother Nature, since Houston is the one team that actually plays in a dome in 1970. Doesn't have to deal with weather. Denver travels to San Francisco. And then Cincinnati will be heading to Washington to play the Redskins. So let's get started. Our first game, New Orleans at Atlanta, in the pouring rain in Atlanta Stadium. Let's go to the highlights. 2:13 left in the first, and Atlanta. Ken Vineyard kicks through a field goal, 3-0 Atlanta. 13:35 in the second quarter. Dempsey. And he missed that one wide right. That 29-yard attempt is missed. 8:03 in the second. Vineyard again. He missed that one wide right. So the rain may be affecting the footing of the kickers here, and they're not getting good traction. Vineyard again. This is a chip shot, and he punches that through with 20 seconds left in the first half. Atlanta 6, New Orleans 0. 8:31 in the third. Billy Kilmer is running. He's running. He's oh no, he's trapped in the end zone. Claude Humphreys tracks him down and sacks him in the end zone. Atlanta 8, New Orleans 0. 8:15 in the third. Bob Berry is picked off. Hugo Hollis gets the interception for New Orleans and sets them up on the Atlanta 31. Well, that didn't go very well. They had to kick. And Dempsey misses again with 5:49 in the third. 5:51 in the fourth. Barry hits Cannonball Butler, and he is in for a touchdown. Boy, it looks like New Orleans is going to get blanked here. Well, maybe not. With 2 minutes left, can Billy Kilmer get them in the end zone? No, he's picked off. Oh, this is an ugly day for the New Orleans Saints in Atlanta. And that is going to wrap up the game. Atlanta 15, New Orleans 0, and that is your final. Cannonball Butler is your MVP. 15 rushes, 48 yards, 4 catches, 53 yards. One of those is a touchdown. Atlanta dominating the game. Billy Kilmer's line, 10 out of 26, 172 yards, no touchdowns, an interception, and was sacked for that safety. No words to describe the New Orleans running game today in Atlanta. Well, maybe non-existent. Receiving, slightly better, but that's a sad receiving day any way you look at it. Not a lot of offense for New Orleans today, but here's the numbers anyhow. On defense, they were out there quite a bit. Mike Morgan and Dave Rowe get sacks. Dave Long got a sack. Hugo Hollis got that interception. Dempsey, nothing. Didn't hit a single solitary thing. Fagan was busy punting. His longest was 47. Ken Burrow got a 27-yard kickoff return. The New Orleans punting line, or punt return line. Now let's look at Atlanta. Bob Berry, 17 out of 31. 181 yards. He had a touchdown and interception, but was sacked 3 times for 10 yards. Harmon Wages ended up with 111 yards rushing today. Cannonball Butler had 48 yards. He did fumble the ball twice, but Atlanta recovered those for him. Receiving, Cannonball Butler had the touchdown. Total offense for the Atlanta Falcons. On defense, Tommy Nobis once again leading in tackles. Claude Humphreys had a great day. 3 tackles, 2 for loss. One of them was a sack, and that sack was for a safety. Ken Reeves had the interception. Vineyard only missed 1 field goal and was good on his extra point. Lothridge had a 50-yard punt. Almost half of those punts were inside the 20. And identical numbers for Cannonball Butler and Sonny Campbell on kick returns. Mallory had a 50-yard punt return. That is a wrap. Falcons shut out the New Orleans Saints 15-zip. Now let's see. I believe Joe Cap is going to be starting. Telefiero, that experiment with him starting the past 2 games did not pan out for Boston, so going to go back to Joe Cap and hope for the best. .847 in the first, and Johnny Unitas hits John Mackey, 4-yard touchdown, 8:47 in the first quarter. 5:48 in the second, and O'Brien shanks that one right. Score still 7-0. 2 minutes left in the quarter. Unitas hits Mackey again. .34 seconds. Telefiero is actually starting again. Oh, and he throws another pick. I have no idea what the Patriots are thinking by starting him. Unitas with 20 seconds left in the half. He throws an interception to Pillpot, and he is Johnny Unitas tracks him down and tackles him on the Baltimore 14. Let's see if they can get it in the end zone before the end of the half. No, Capoletti gets him on the board with 3. Score is 14-3. Now we're in the fourth quarter, 12-19. And Mike Curtis stops Jim Nance at the line, turnover on downs. 4:45 in the fourth. Ted Hendricks picks off Taliafiero. .302 in the fourth. Unitas reversed to Jefferson, and he is taken off, and looks like he's off to the races and in for a score. Roy Jefferson on the reverse, 26-yard touchdown run. Extra point is good. With 6 seconds left, Boston's last chance, and he overthrows Nance. The woes in Boston continue. Colts 21, Patriots 3. Mike Curtis, big game for him. He had the big tackle at the end on Jim Nance. And, of course, Baltimore dominated. Okay, Taliafiero is 14 of 34, 197 yards, no TDs, 2 interceptions. I don't know why Joe Cap is sitting. I think he's capable better than that. Jim Nance had a decent day, 59 yards on 14 carries. Ron Sellers. It seemed like the only receiver Taliafiero would throw to was Ron Sellers. He picked up 142 yards of receiving, but no touchdowns to show for all that. The total offense numbers for the Boston Patriots. On defense, Chanyuski, 10 tackles. Bramlett had a sack. Phil Potts had the interception. Well, Gino just had the one kick. And Janik was punting a lot. Garrett and Lawson's kick return numbers. And Garrett and Blank's, their punt return numbers. Okay, let's look at the Colts. Johnny Unitas, 16 of 28, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception, 1 sack for 5 yards. And looking at rushing, Jefferson had that reverse 26-yard touchdown. That looked about like all they were doing on the ground. I'm sure Colts fans weren't happy to see Unitas out there running around, having a 47-yard run. All right, passing. Eddie Hinton had 69 yards. John Mackey, good game for him. 2 touchdowns. The old pro getting it done. Total offense for the Colts. Defense. Your MVP, Mike Curtis, 13 tackles, 2 for loss. He had a sack. Grant and Hendricks had interceptions. Bubba Smith, he got a sack today as well. Jim O'Brien, he missed the 1 field goal that he attempted, but was good on his extra points. David Lee, solid punting day. Ron Garden and Tim Duncan, 18 yards for Garden today. Garden and Volk's punt return numbers. Now we go to snowy, cold Wrigley Field, where the Lions are playing the Bears, a black and blue division game. Let's go to the highlights. And the snow's coming down, a minute 20 in the first, and Mel Farr takes it around the end for 1-yard touchdown, Lions. Extra points good, 10-21 in the second. Munson hands off to Farr again, and he is in for the touchdown. 2 touchdowns today for Mel Farr. 14-0, 3:53 in the second quarter. And Errol Mann hits the 39-yard field goal in the snow to increase the Detroit lead. 17-0 Detroit. 3:47 in the second. And here we go. 1 man to beat, and he's gone. Errol Mann had his shot, and he whiffed. And Chicago shocks the Lions with a 91-yard return by Cecil Turner. A minute 34 left in the half, and Munson is picked off. And then there's a fumble. Munson is picked off by Benny McRae, and then Benny McRae fumbles the ball. With 33 seconds left in the first half, Errol Mann, again, a long field goal in the snow, and it's good. Lions 20, Bears 7. Jack Concannon back to pass. He's looking, trying to get points on the board before the end of the first half, and just misses Dick Gordon on that one. So we're moving on to the third quarter, 7:08. Munson back to pass. He's got some protection, and he somehow didn't see Dick Butkus standing there, and he hit him right in the 51. Nothing, the Bears can't advance it, but they're going to go for the field goal. And it's good. Detroit 20, Bears 10. 9:37 in the fourth. And Munson's intercepted again by Doug Buffone. Can the Lions, well, nope, they don't do anything. Or the Bears, but Errol Mann, with 1:21, goes wide left with his field goal attempt. With 1:15 left in the game, Concannon back to pass. And I have no idea who he was throwing to there. Uyghur intercepts the pass. I mean, there are 4 Lions there. And he threw it right into the midst of them. That is your final score. Detroit 20, Chicago Bears 10 in the snowy confines of Wrigley Field. Mel Farr, your MVP, was a good back when he was healthy. Let's look at the stats. Let's see what how Detroit did here on individual stats. Well, I think it's time for Greg Landry to come in. 7 completions on 23 attempts, 111 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and that actually is the lowest quarterback rating so far this season. So, yeah, I think we're probably going to be seeing Greg Landry. Big day for the Lions running tandem of Aldi Taylor and Mel Farr. Rather quiet day in the air. When you looked at Munson's numbers, yeah, I wasn't expecting a whole lot here. Everything on the ground for the Detroit offense today. On defense, Joe Robb had 6 tackles, 2 for loss. One of those is a sack. Jerry Rush, good day. 4 tackles, 2 of those were sacks. Uyghur with the interception. Errol Mann had a good day, just missed that one. Herman Weaver, only 5 punts today. Bobby Williams and Nick Eddy, not much action, only a 31-yard kick return for Williams. And not much to speak of from Lem Barney or Nick Eddy when it came to punt returns. Now we go to Chicago. Concannon, 10 out of 25 for a whopping 61 yards. No touchdowns, an interception. He was sacked 3 times for 21 yards. Lousy quarterback rating. Well, at least it's not as bad as Bill Munson's. And really nothing going on in the running game. Receiving, not a lot here either. And those are some pretty putrid total offense numbers for Chicago. On defense, they got a workout. Dick Butkus, 15 tackles, 3 of them for loss. He had that one pick. Billy Holman, 6 tackles, 3 for loss. Benny McRae and Doug Buffone with the interceptions. Percival, not much action today. Bobby Joe Green's punting line, 49-yarder was his longest. 9 punts, 6 of them inside the 20. Ron Smith and Cecil Turner's kick return numbers. Well, look at that. Cecil Turner, if you remember, he had that 91-yard kick return. Only bright spot in the day for the Bears. Ron Smith and Lindsey Cole's punt return numbers. All right. Well, we are now off to Lambeau Field. .12:36 in the first. Norm Snead under center for the Eagles. He hands off to Wuchnick, and he fumbles. Ray Nitschke grabs it, tries to advance it, but only gets to the 13. 8:44 in the first. Bart Starr back to pass. He's got man-to-man coverage. Clancy beats his man and gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Green Bay Packers. 4:22 in the first. Bart Starr again. And this time he's picked off by Ray Jones. 2:45 in the first. Drive stalls. Mosley. It's good. Philly gets on the board. 7-3 is your score. Livingston kicks it through for 3 points. Green Bay 10, Philly 3. 4:10 in the second quarter. Norton Snead's knocking on the door, and Wuchnick goes in for the touchdown. 2:28 in the second quarter. Bart Starr takes the sneak around the right side for a 3-yard touchdown. 17-10 Green Bay. 2:02 in the second quarter. Snead is getting chased, and Jim Carter picks that one off. Snead was under a ton of pressure and just wild throw. 48 seconds left. Bart Starr has him at the 2-yard line. Clancy again, this time in the corner of the end zone, 2-yard touchdown pass. Now we're in the third quarter, 11:28. Livingston is wide left. Score doesn't change. 9:26 in the third. And Harold Jackson catches the ball and then coughs it up to Green Bay. Bart Starr drives him down and throws an interception in the end zone. Picked off by Alan Nelson. He went to the well too many times in that pass. Norm Snead is then sacked in the end zone for a safety by Lionel Aldridge. 26-10 is your score with 42 seconds left in the third. Bart Starr doesn't convert on the 4th and short. Mosley
wide right.
Misses the chip shot. Still 26-10 Packers. 2:33 left in the game. Snead, he uncorks one right to Kenny Ellis. 6 seconds left. Last gasp for the Eagles. And he does hit Harold Jackson in the back of the end zone. Too little, too late for Philly, though. With a second left, Philly tries the onside kick. And it's recovered by Green Bay, and that will end the game. The Pack get a win at home, 26-17 over the Philadelphia Eagles. Bart Starr is your MVP. And fairly dominating game by the Packers. Norm Snead, 19-35 for the Eagles. 1 TD, 2 interceptions, 310 yards, and he was sacked 4 times. And the Eagles' running game was pretty much Cyril Pinder and Tom Wichnick, and he got a touchdown on the ground. 88 yards for Harold Jackson and a touchdown. Ben Hawkins, 119 yards. Total offense for the Philadelphia Eagles. On defense, Eagles, Nate Ramsey led with 8 tackles. Gary Pettigrew, 7 tackles, 3 for loss. Nelson and Jones with the interceptions. Mosley missed 1 field goal. Otherwise was had a good day. Bradley in the punting department, not busy at all. 3 punts. Wallach and Nelson's kick return numbers. Wallach had a 33-yard return. Nothing on the punt return side of things for the Eagles. Let's look at Bart Starr's numbers. 20 of 29. That's good. Almost 70. Just shy of 70% completion rate. 257 yards. 2 touchdowns, balanced out by 2 interceptions. Good day for the veteran who is at the tail end of his career. Donnie Anderson had a big day, 97 yards on the ground. Bart Starr with his touchdown run. Clancy, 2 touchdowns today. He was the busy receiver. Carroll Dale, 60 yards on 5 catches. Offense numbers for the Packers. And good day for the Green Bay defense. Ray Nitschke, 9 tackles, 1 for loss, and he did recover a fumble and ran it back for a few yards. Fred Carr has a sack. Clarence Williams had a sack. Lionel Ulrich. Every one of his tackles was a sack, and one of those sacks was a safety when Snead was scrambling around like eagle with its head cut off and ended up being trapped in the end zone. Dale Livingston's numbers today. Donnie Anderson's punt numbers. Ken Ellis and Larry Krause, their kick return numbers for today. Krause had a 59-yard return. Nothing on the punt return side of things. Okay, so the Pack picks up the win at home. Now we're off to Dallas and Kansas City. One wonders what the Cowboys are going to do on offense. Tom Landry has to surely shake up things. Let's see if it works. 9:29 in the fourth. Jan Stenerud. He puts that one through the uprights to get Kansas City on the board first, 3-0. 5:23 in the first. Craig Morton hands off to Dwayne Thomas. And he... Oh. 15-yard run, and he coughs the ball up. 32 seconds left in the first. Stenerud is good. 6-0. Kansas City and Dallas's woes continue. And it gets worse.
Wide right.
Mike Clark misses a short field goal attempt. 5:36 in the second quarter. Lenny Dawson back to pass.
Complete.
Touchdown, Kansas City. Frank Pitts, 24-yard catch and run for a touchdown from Len Dawson. 8:33 in the third quarter. Stenerud again. And it's good. 16-0 Kansas City. Clark again trying a field goal. And he missed that one too.
Wide left.
Oh. Just awful for the Cowboys. 4:36 left in the game, and Stenerud tacks on another 3 points. Will the Cowboys get shut out? A minute 20 left in the game, and Stenerud's going to try a longish field goal, and he gets that one as well to make it 22-0. "31 seconds left in the game, and it's over." The Cowboys, I think this has got to be their lowest point in the season. Getting routed by Kansas City 22-0. Aaron Brown is your game MVP. That's domination right there by Kansas City. Craig Morton, miserable day. 7 out of 22. 131 yards. No TDs, no interceptions. Sacked twice. All right, let's take a look then at Dallas's running attack. Well, Dwayne Thomas, 92 yards. Calvin Hill, 30 yards. Dwayne Thomas coughing up the ball literally within a yard of the end zone was a dagger in the heart. And with Craig Morton's really horrible quarterback numbers, you can expect that the receiving yards are not very impressive either, and they're not. Total offense of Dallas, which is pretty bad. I don't know what Tom Landry has to do here. He can go back to Roger Staubach, but quarterback seems to be the problem. And well, of course, holding on to the ball too. That as well. On defense, I think they're just getting tired. I mean, they are on the field a long time in a lot of these games this season. I think they're just wearing down. Leroy Jordan with 10 tackles. Bob Lilly got a sack. Mike Clark missed both field goals. Would be 6 punts. On kick returns, Margene Atkins and Dwayne Thomas, 25 yards, longest return for Atkins, 29 for Dwayne Thomas. Hayes and Renfro didn't do anything at all when it came to punt returns. Yuck. That is what the feeling is if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan right now. Yuck. All right. We've got Cleveland down in the Orange Bowl against the Dolphins. The Dolphins were embarrassed by the Bills last week. Let's see if they have a bounce back win. .12:32 in the first. Greasy back to pass. Hits Paul Warfield. Short pass, and Warfield is into the end zone. Touchdown, Miami Dolphins. 3:32 in the first. Concroft whiffs at the field goal attempt. 14-yard field goal attempt, and he just absolutely hooked it. 13:48 in the second quarter now. Nelson under center. He hands off to Bo Scott. And they convert that short fourth down. 11:55 in the second. Nelson off to Leroy Kelly, and Kelly rumbles in for a 1-yard touchdown. 7-7? And it is. 11:43 in the first half. And Greasy throws an interception right to Ernie Kellerman. The Browns drive down, they stall, and Concroft kicks it through to give Cleveland a 10-7 lead. 3:11 in the second quarter. Garo Yepremian from way downtown, and he missed that one. Almost looked like that kind of doinked off of the upright. 14:42 in the third. Nelson looking downfield. Not under pressure. And he hits Fair Hooker. And Fair Hooker is in the end zone. Touchdown, Cleveland Browns. 77-yard connection. Nelson to Hooker. That sounded wrong. And they get a 7-yard catch to Milt Morin. 7:57 in the third quarter. Concroft again. That one looked a little better. 31 yards, 3 points. Cleveland 20, Dolphins 7. Warfield on the end around. And he goes in untouched. 16-yard reverse. Paul Warfield scored on his former team. Yepremian kicks that one through. We're now down to a 3-point game. Miami at 17, Cleveland 20. 6:53 left in the fourth. And Fair Hooker fumbles the ball. Swift picks it up and runs it back to the Miami 27. Are we going to see a Miami comeback? They're on the goal line. Larry Zonk, that is a almost automatic. That bulldozer Zonk in for a touchdown. Miami up 24-20. They get the first down. Nelson to Kelly for 10 yards. 3 seconds left. Nelson looking. And he just misses Gary Collins. Just off of Collins' fingertips. And that will be your final score. The Dolphins come from behind to win 24-20. Paul Warfield is your MVP. No surprise. 2 touchdowns, 1 in the air, 1 on the ground. Shula pulling a trick play out of his playbook. And they score on that reverse. Looking at the game stats. Well, it looked good for Cleveland up until about the last quarter. Then it all went south, literally. Bill Nelson's day, 19 to 44, 355 yards, a touchdown. That's one of the better quarterback ratings so far this season for the doctor. Bo Scott, 63 yards on the ground. Leroy Kelly, 16 and a touchdown. Gary Collins and Fair Hooker, each over 100 yards receiving for the day. Collins, 140 yards. Fair Hooker, 119 yards and a touchdown. He had 77-yard touchdown reception. Total offense numbers for the Browns. On the defensive side of the ball, well, we had 1 interception. Jack Gregory got 4 tackles, all of them for loss. Shrek had a tackle for loss. No sacks. They didn't get to Greasy. Concroft shanked that chip shot. Everything else he hit. Average punting day for Don Concroft. Morrison and Homer Jones. Well, they kept it away from Homer Jones and not let him touch the ball too much and maybe break one for a touchdown. Reese Morrison and Schoen. All right, let's see what Miami's got going here. Bob Greasy's numbers. 11 of 24, 139 yards, a TD and an interception. Wasn't sacked. Jim Kick had 99 yards. Larry Zonka 29. Zonka got the touchdown run. Warfield got the touchdown as well with the reverse. Receiving, big day for Warfield, 78 yards and a TD. Warfield is starting to kind of build that rapport with Greasy, seeing if this is his first year coming over from the Cleveland Browns. Total offense for the Dolphins. Defense numbers. Doug Swift, 12 tackles, 2 for loss. He did recover a fumble. Richardson, 3 tackles, 2 for a loss. One of those was a sack. Garo Yepremian hit half of his field goal attempts. Larry Seipel, 6 punts for those inside the 20. 5 of those punts were fair catches. Your kick return numbers, Mercury Morris handling the duties today. Again, didn't get to touch the ball. Jake Scott, Mercury Morris. Miami a winner, 24-20. Come from behind win. All right. Now we're up in chilly Metropolitan Stadium. So we go from the Orange Bowl at 65 degrees and clear skies, and we're going to cold Minneapolis, Minnesota. Rams, Vikings. Fearsome foursome, Purple People Eaters. 8:06 in the first. David. Oh, and they pull off a Fake field goal, and just out of the reach of Billy Truex. 3:04 left in the first. Gabriel hands off to Josephson on 4th and 1, and he is stuffed. 4:23 in the third now. Quazzo is picked off by Richie Pettibone. A minute 18 in the third. David Ray breaks the deadlock at 0-0 with an 18-yard field goal. Beginning of the fourth quarter, Quazzo back to pass, and Pettibone reads him, and I think Pettibone will get a touchdown on this. The veteran Richie Pettibone picks off Gary Quazzo and runs it back for a touchdown. 10-0, Los Angeles. That looked bad coming off of his foot. Ray misses the 14-yard field goal attempt. A minute 5 in the fourth. Ray's trying a longer field goal. And he misses that one too. Looks like a defensive battle today. Can't wait to see these defensive numbers for the teams. 4 seconds left. Quazzo. And he's being chased. And he just avoids the sack. And Los Angeles picks off the ball. Time runs out. That was it. The Rams come in and stun the Minnesota Vikings at home, shutting them out. Los Angeles 10, Minnesota 0. And of course, Richie Pettibone is going to be your MVP. Big game. 2 tackles, 2 interceptions. One of them ran back for a touchdown. And Minnesota could not get anything going offensively. LA better, but I got a feeling that both defenses showed up and were making life difficult for the offense. Let's take a look at Los Angeles' numbers. Roman Gabriel, 18 of 24, 159 yards. No TDs, no interceptions. He was sacked once for 9 yards. Les Josephson, 78 yards on the ground. Willie Ellison, he got 41. So good day for him as well. Both Ellison and Josephson did fumble, but LA recovered. Looking at the passing numbers, of course, Jack Snow is going to be at the top of this list as he is week in and week out for the Rams. Here's your total offense numbers. Today, the defense was the offense for the Rams. And on defense, and Merlin Olsen shows up. 7 tackles, 2 for loss. One of those a sack. Coy Bacon gets a sack. Richie Pettibone, 2 interceptions. One of those run back for a touchdown. Ed Meador got that Hail Mary last-ditch bomb. He picked that off in the waning seconds of the game. David Ray, problems with field goals, but did hit his extra point. Studstill, his punting line for the day, 6 punts, 5 inside the 20. Kermit Alexander and Alvin Haymond, not much on the kick returns. Haymond and Alexander, 30-yard punt return by Alvin Haymond. Now let's look at Minnesota. This just had to be, Bud Grant looks grim all the time. I'm thinking he probably looked extra grim walking back into the locker room after this loss. Quazzo, 5 of 29, a whopping 54 yards, 3 picks, 2 sacks. And without a doubt, the lowest quarterback rating we've seen so far in our 1970 NFL replay. Dave Osborne churned out 52 yards. Not much for Gene Washington or any of the receivers. And not a lot of offense there for the Vikings today. The Purple People Eaters. I think they did their job on their side of the ball. 11 tackles for Roy Winston. Lonnie Warwick got a tackle for a loss. Carl Eller picked up a sack to add to his sack total for the season. Larson 4 tackles, Eller 4 tackles, Marshall 5 tackles, Page had 1. But yeah, that front 4. And of course, Fred Cox basically had nothing to do today, so he sat as close as he could to the heaters on the side of the field to keep warm. McNeil, busy day for him, 10 punts. All of his punts inside the 20. Charlie West and Clint Jones on kick returns. And Weston Grimm on punt returns. Nothing going there. Buffalo coming off their win against the Dolphins, heading into Shea Stadium to play not Joe Namath and the New York Jets, but I believe Al Woodall is starting today. Let's find out. 5:46 in the first, and Jim Turner punches in the 10-yard chip shot, putting New York up 3-0. 20 seconds left in the first quarter. Nope, Namath is in the game. Butch Bird picks him off. $13:42 in the second quarter. Dennis Shaw under center for Buffalo. He's back to pass. He's trying to avoid the rush, and he gets brought down behind the line of scrimmage. A sack. A minute 38 in the second. Still 3-0. Namath hands off to Knock. George Knock right up the gut for 2 yards. Touchdown, New York Jets. With 20 seconds left in the first half, Buffalo gets on the board with a short field goal from Grant Guthrie. Guthrie again. 2:41 in the third. Longer one, and it's good. New York 10, Buffalo 6. 4:48 in the fourth. Turner. That one goes through. Turner extends the New York lead with 3 points. New York 13, Buffalo 6. Minute 33 in the fourth. And Shaw hits O.J. Simpson, and the juice is loose. 39-yard touchdown, Dennis Shaw to O.J. Simpson. And with 6 seconds left, Buffalo gets within field goal range. It's an 11-yard chip shot, and Grant Guthrie misses it. We will end. These are 1970 rules regarding overtime. They only have overtime in the playoffs, regular season. Whatever the score is at the end of regulation, that is what you get. So we end up with a 13-13 tie. Dennis Shaw had a good game. That's the second game in a row where he's had a good game. Well, Buffalo came marching back. Dennis Shaw's line for today for that MVP, 17 to 28, 294 yards, a touchdown. Did not turn it over. It was sacked 4 times. So he was moving around a little bit for his life. And you can tell 37 yards running, trying to keep things alive where he can get a ball downfield to somebody. O.J. Simpson, a whopping total of 17 yards rushing today. Marlon Briscoe, another good day, 121 yards receiving. Haven Moses got 87. O.J. Simpson got 64, the touchdown, which was a 39-yarder. And the offensive numbers for the Buffalo Bills. Defense. Stubborn as always, especially that linebacking core. Chandler led with 9 tackles. Al Collins, he got to Namath. Butch Bird picked off Namath as well. And Guthrie, the goat to the game, and I don't mean greatest of all time, but the goat to the game, missing a chip shot field goal from 11 yards out with a couple seconds left in the game, which could have won it. And we get a tie. McGuire, busy day punting. Hill and Alexander, kick returning for Buffalo today. Hill and Farr with their punt return numbers. Now let's look at Joe Willie and the Jets. Surprised that Joe Namath is starting. Completed 11 to 31, 178 yards, an interception, sacked once, so he got some protection. All right, Emerson Boozer, 83 yards. Knock had the lone touchdown. Pete Lamons, 84 yards. Castor shows up this week with 22 yards. Don Maynard, 22 yards. One catch by the great George Sauer for 6. Little Eddie Bell got 32, and that's it. Offensive numbers for the Jets. On defense, Mark Lomas, 6 tackles, 2 for loss. One of those is a sack. Verlin Biggs, good day for him, 2 sacks. Ralph Baker got a sack. Jim Turner hit everything. O'Neal, busy day punting. Battle and McLean, kick returners. Battle and Bell, punt return duties. Not much to look at. Well, 13-13. Now we're in at New York, Yankee Stadium. Cards and Giants. 10:07 in the first. Cardinals driving. Jimmy Hart back to pass. Hits MacArthur Lane, who goes in. Touchdown, Cardinals. The surprising St. Louis Cardinals get on the board first. 10:03 in the second. Bakken punches that one through. 10-0. St. Louis. 7:03. St. Louis again. Jimmy Hart back to pass. And he's picked off. Ken Parker picks off Jimmy Hart in that pass over the middle. Tarkenton drives him down with 1:13 in the second. It's back. Oh no, it's a draw to Ron Johnson. 5-yard touchdown run for Ron Johnson. Score is 10-7 St. Louis. They do the fake field goal with 8 seconds left. Shiner hits Tucker. 14-10 Giants. But Jimmy Hart with 8:08 in the third runs up the middle for a 4-yard touchdown. 1:39 in the third. LaTourette is punting. Picked up by Duhan. And he runs it back to the 45. Start of the fourth quarter. Oh, it's a fake punt. And it gets nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. 17-14 Cardinals back and forth. 1:14 left in the game. And Tarkenton hits Tucker Frederickson for a 7-yard touchdown pass to put the Giants ahead 21-17. But we're not finished yet. Jim Hart hands off to MacArthur Lane. And he's in. 3-yard touchdown run by MacArthur Lane with 16 seconds left in the fourth quarter. All right, 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Fran Tarkenton's back to pass. He's moving around. He avoids the sack. And it's intercepted by Larry Wilson, and that will be your ball game. A back and forth between St. Louis and New York, with St. Louis coming out on top. The surprising St. Louis Cardinals come in and get a win against the New York Giants. MacArthur Lane gets your MVP. 73 yards rushing, 13 yards receiving, a touchdown each. And this was the back and forth. Oh, Jimmy Hart's numbers, 15-38, 268 yards, a touchdown and an interception. MacArthur Lane, 73 yards rushing and a touchdown. Jim Hart had that 1-yard run, or 4-yard run. Gilliam, 176 yards of receiving, and he didn't have a touchdown to show for it. Total offense by the St. Louis Cardinals. On defense, Jamie Rivers came up big, 12 tackles. 1 sack by Chuck Walker. Larry Wilson got that end of the game interception. Another day at the office for Jim Bakken. LaTourette punting. Longest was 45. Pittman and LaTourette in kick return duties. LaTourette and Johnny Rowland returning punts today against the Giants. All right, let's look at Fran's numbers. 21-28, 75% completion rate, 188 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. Dick Shiner, he completed a 4-yard touchdown pass. That fake field goal. Ron Johnson had 54 yards on the ground and a touchdown. 51 yards for Herman. 21 for Bob Tucker and a touchdown. 11 yards for Tucker Frederickson and a touchdown. Ron Johnson, 30 yards receiving as well. Total offense for the Giants. And on the defensive side of things, Freddie Dreyer keeps up getting the sacks. He got a sack today along with Heck. Kanicki. Ken Parker got the interception. No field goals for Gogolak today, so it was all extra points. 47-yard was the longest punt for Bill Johnson. Out of the 8 punts, 5 inside the 20. And here's your kick return numbers. We had that nice long return by Lashai, Bobby Duhan. He had 13 yards. Duhan had that 30-yard punt return. Cardinals 24, Giants 21. All right, so now we look at Pittsburgh at Oakland. Is it Hanratty or Bradshaw? Hanratty's been looking good, so I don't know if Chuck Noll's going to bench him and put in Terry Bradshaw. 12-19 in the first quarter. Darryl LaMonica hands off to Dixon, and Dixon cuts right through the middle of that Pittsburgh defense, and he is off for a touchdown. 56-yard run for Hewitt Dixon. 7-0 Oakland. Hanratty is under center. Hands to Preston Pearson. And Preston Pearson fumbles. 5:51 in the first. LaMonica back to pass, and he finds Warren Wells. Wells gets the first down. 4:10 in the first. Field goal is up and good, extending the lead to 10-0 Oakland. 47 seconds left in the first. Gene Mingo is going to try to get Pittsburgh on the board. He's had problems all season with field goals, and those problems continue. We are now in the second. 7:48. Blanda. It's through. It's good. Chip shot field goal for George Blanda. 13-0 Oakland Raiders. 2 minutes left in the second. Hanratty overthrows his receiver. Willie Brown's there to pick it off. 1:38 in the second quarter. LaMonica. He's picked off by Mel Blount. Trading interceptions. 1:14 left. Bobby Walden is punting out of his end zone. And Wyatt's got the ball. He beat his last man. No, he's got one more, and Mingo or Walden totally miffs the tackle. 20-0 Oakland. Hanratty, he's picked off by Nehemiah Wilson. In the third quarter now, Hanratty is picked off again by Bill Lasky. 10:40 in the third. LaMonica under center for the Raiders. Drops back. He's looking. He's got Warren Wells in the back corner of the end zone. Touchdown Raiders. This is a blowout. 27-0. Dixon pours salt into the wounds with a 6-yard touchdown run with 6 minutes left in the third quarter. 5:34 in the third. Hanratty under center. He's back. He's looking. And he hits Grayson right in the numbers. Dave Grayson picks off Terry Hanratty. 56 seconds left in the third. LaMonica hands off to Charlie Smith, and he is stuffed. Veteran Chuck Hinton got the tackle. 21 seconds left in the game, and this is going to be your final score. The Raiders put the hammer down on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hewitt Dixon is your MVP. Almost 200 yards rushing today. He did have 2 catches, but 192 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Tons of purple on the Oakland side. Pittsburgh turned the ball over 5 times today. And look at the time of possession. 14-28 for Pittsburgh, 45-32 for Oakland. Passing yards, Oakland 209, 80 for Pittsburgh. 261 yards rushing, 74 Pittsburgh. What a beating. I think Terry Hanratty will be riding the bench in Week 7. Preston Pearson's fumble-itis continues to be an issue. He was benched a game after he fumbled 3 times by Chuck Null, and Chuck Null put him back in, and he responded by coughing up a ball and giving it to Oakland. Ron Shanklin, 58 yards receiving. Otherwise, not anything really great in those numbers. On defense, Andy Russell stepped up, 12 tackles, 1 for a loss. Chuck Allen had a good game. Joe Green got 2 tackles for a loss. Mel Blount, 1 interception. And the frustration with Mingo continues. Bobby Walden, his day punting. Blount and Staggers, their kick return numbers. Hubie Bryant and John Staggers doing punt returns. Let's look at Oakland. 20-33 for Darryl LaMonica, 209 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Dixon, 192 yards on the ground, had a 56-yard touchdown run. Freddie Blitnikoff, 154 yards in the air. Warren Wells only had 32 yards, but a touchdown. Offensive numbers for the Raiders. On defense, Gus Otto led, 5 tackles, 1 of them for loss. Interceptions by Lasky and Grayson. Gus Otto got the fumble. Interceptions by Nehemiah Wilson, Willie Brown. Sacked by Tony Klein. Blanda didn't miss a thing. Mike Eyeshide, he just not much of a working day for him today. Only 3 punts. Wyatt and Atkinson and kick return. Wyatt had a 21-yarder. Punt returns, Alvin Wyatt, that 59-yard punt return for a touchdown. And that will wrap it up for the blowout in Oakland. 34-0 Raiders over the Steelers. Well, now we have Houston in sunny, well, usually sunny San Diego, but it's a rainy day. And on that field in San Diego Stadium, that should be another sloppy game. .35 in the first. Roy Jarella. Oh, that almost was blocked. But he punches it through. 3-0. Houston over San Diego. But San Diego drives down with 50 seconds left in the first. Jeff Queen runs it right up the middle. 2-yard touchdown run. Puts San Diego up 7-3. But Charlie Johnson, well, he hits Alvin Reed for 8 yards with 9:54 in the second quarter. 9:47, John Hadel back to pass. He hits Gary Garrison, and the ghost is gone. Goodbye, Gary Garrison. Let's see if the extra point is good. 80-yard pass and catch. And it is. 5:16. Jerry Levias gets a 2-yard touchdown pass from Charlie Johnson. 17-14 Houston. Hadel hits Garrison again in the end zone with 1:38 left in the first half. That will put San Diego up 21-17, but Charlie Johnson, yep, he's picked off. And staggers, slips and falls. Otherwise, he had a clear road ahead to the end zone. 4 seconds left. Mercer, again, almost blocked there, but it's good. San Diego 24, Houston 17. Jeff Queen gets in the end zone again at 9:39 in the third. 31-17 Chargers. Charlie Johnson is back up against his end zone, and he is sacked for a safety by Bob Briggs. 33-17 with 10:52 in the fourth. Hadel back. And we call Garrison's number again. Gary Garrison, 11-yard touchdown pass. Big day for Gary Garrison. 40-17. Charlie Johnson gets Hake for 3 yards. That'll make it 24-40. Minute 44 in the fourth. Johnson, he's picked off again. That, I think, is going to be your ball game. That was looking like a good old AFL back and forth until San Diego hit the accelerator. All right, let's go look at the stats. Dominating game. Charlie Johnson's line. Joe Dawkins had 64 yards rushing. Charlie Joyner, 75 yards against a team that he's going to play for in the late 70s and early 80s. Jerry Levias actually ends up with the Chargers as well. Side note. Hike, Reed, and Levias with touchdowns. Total offense for Houston. They didn't fare well outside of the dome. They got into that weather, and I think it hampered them. Defensive numbers. Boyette led with 11 tackles. George Webster, two tackles for loss. Elvin Bethea got a sack. Jarella, the typical Jarella game. He's definitely going to be the answer for Pittsburgh's kicking woes once they get rid of Gene Mingo and get a hold of Jarella. Spike Jones only had 3 punts. Levias and Benny Johnson's kick return numbers. Levias and Richardson punt return numbers. Levias had the longest one was 11 yards. All right, let's look at the Chargers. They had a banner day today. Looked like old Chargers football in the AFL. Hadel had 22 out of 28, 330 yards, 3 touchdowns. The longest one was 80 yards. He was sacked once. Excellent quarterback rating. Dickie Post had a good day running, 81 yards. Jeff Queen, 40 yards and 2 touchdowns. And look at that. Gary Garrison, 183 yards, 3 touchdowns, 80-yard touchdown reception. Lance Allworth gets back into triple digits. He's been kind of quiet over the past couple games. So good to see Lance Allworth back in. He didn't get a touchdown, but gobbled up 111 yards in receptions. Total offense numbers for San Diego and their victory over the Houston Oilers in the rain. Defense, Bob Babich leading the way with 9 tackles. Pete Barnes with 8. Bob Briggs, good day for him, 4 tackles. And we had that tackle, that sack for safety. Staggs, a sack and an interception. Steve DeLong, he got a sack. Brugers, he got an interception. Good day for the oft-maligned San Diego defense. Which trivia? San Diego's early 60s AFL defensive line was actually considered the original fearsome foursome. So that, I know that name is associated with the Rams, but the fearsome foursome were actually birthed in the AFL with the San Diego Chargers. Mike Mercer, perfect day. Dennis Partee, his day of punting, only 4 punts. Speedy Duncan had a 29-yard punt return. And with Fletcher and Smith on punt, that was kick returns. On punt returns, Fletcher had a 12-yard punt return. And we will say adios to the Chargers in their victory over the Oilers, a clobbering 40-24. Now we're into the final 2 games of Week 6. Denver Broncos, San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. (9:30) in the first. Liskey under center. He's knocking on the door, gives the ball to Bobby Anderson, and he is in for a 2-yard touchdown. Denver strikes first. 7-0 Denver. Liskey takes off and is hit, fumbles the ball to San Francisco at the 44. 27 seconds left in the first. John Brody dropping back. He's looking. He avoids the sack. Hits Riley. Preston Riley. 10-yard touchdown pass from John Brody. Ties the score. Brody with a second left. He's going to heave that one, but he's running. Oh, and almost sacked. And he's intercepted by Greer. And Greer's running it back, and he is knocked over. 9:30 in the third quarter. Ken Willard Willard cuts through the Denver Orange Crush defense for a touchdown. Extra point is good. 1:25 in the third. Liskey hands off to Floyd Little. Floyd Little is in for the touchdown. Tie game with 8:24 in the fourth. Halfield's kick is up and good.
Wide left.
No! Wide left. That one had me tricked. 2 minutes left in the game. Gossett, his kick. Now that looked good.
It's good.
And it was. 17-14 San Francisco. It's the last gasp, if possible, for Denver, and they don't get there. Game ends. The Broncos actually put up points and were pretty game. But in the end, that Halfield miss and the Gossett field goal in the fourth seals it for San Francisco. Your MVP, Gene Washington, 106 yards of receiving. Let's look at the game stats. Denver running the ball, San Francisco passing the ball. Let's look at Pete Liskey's numbers for Denver. 11-19, 161 yards, 1 sack. Floyd Little, 5 yards off, getting another 100-yard game. But you did get a touchdown. Bobby Anderson, 51 yards. That might be his high for the season, and he got a touchdown as well. Liskey on that run around the left end, gained some yards, and he coughed the ball up. That was he was just better to probably try to heave it out of bounds or something, but I know with Denver, they're not doing too well, trying to make something happen. Receiving yards for Denver, Embry with 85. Total offense for the Denver Broncos in their loss to the San Francisco 49ers. Looking at defense, Dave Washington, 8 tackles, 1 for loss. Rich Jackson got another sack. Tombstone Jackson. Greer got the interception. Halfield, the costly miss. And Bill Van Heusen had another good game, 59-yard punt. Anderson and Thompson and their kick return duties. You're looking at 30-yard longest run there by Bobby Anderson. Punt returns. Okay. Let's look at the 49ers. Brody, 18-25, 183 yards, 1 touchdown, an interception, and a sack. Ken Willard did not get to 100 yards, but he did get a touchdown that helped seal the win for the 49ers. Gene Washington, your MVP, 106 yards of reception. And your total offense numbers for your San Francisco 49ers. Defensive numbers. Nunley leads with 8 tackles. Charlie Kruger, 7 tackles, 1 for loss. Roland Lakes got the sack on Liskey. And Mel Phillips retrieved a fumble. And Gossett, his usual excellent kicking. Spurrier, his punting numbers, half of his punts were in the 20. Kick returners, Tucker and Taylor. Punt returners, Taylor and Johnny Fuller. '49ers eke out a 3-point victory over the Denver Broncos. A game and competitive Denver Bronco team today. In our last game, Cincinnati at Washington. Good day for football in the nation's capital. Let's go to the highlights. 12:46 in the first. Virgil Carter hits Speedy Thomas in the end zone, 5-yard touchdown pass, and gets Cincinnati rolling in the first quarter. 7-0 with 11 minutes left in the first. Knight's kick is wide right. 2:17 in the first, 7-0. Molman. Horst Molman, he goes wide left. That's a chip shot for him. 10:30 in the second quarter. Oh, false fake kick. Bruce Coslett catches the pass from Sam Weish. 39-yard touchdown. Caught the Redskins by surprise on that one. 10-11 in the second. Sonny Jurgensen's picked off by the 1969 Defensive Rookie of the Year, Bill Berge. 8:50 left. Molman. And that's good. 41-yard attempt. Molman is good. 17-0 Cincinnati. But Jurgensen's driving the Redskins down with 2:50 left in the second. Hits Walter Roberts for a 16-yard touchdown. 17-7 Cincinnati. 24 seconds left. The first half. And Molman is wide left. So probably the first game I've seen with Molman just not his usual reliable self. Larry Brown takes the handoff in the third quarter and scores. 9-yard touchdown run by Larry Brown. 9:41 left in the third. Bragg to punt. Oh, here goes Parrish. Yep. He got by Bragg, and we're done. Lamar Parrish, 71-yard punt return for a touchdown. 24-14 Cincinnati. Oh no, Jess Phillips fumbles the ball at the Washington 5. Let's see what Sonny Jurgensen can do here. He pitches to Larry Brown, and Larry Brown turns the corner and he's in. Untouched. Scores 24-21, 9:53 left in the game. Larry Brown slices through the center of that Bengal defense. 14-yard run on a trap. The Redskins pull ahead by 4 points. And that is how it'll end up in the nation's capital. The Redskins get a victory. 24-28, close game. Larry Brown is going to be your MVP. There's your final game stats. Lamar, okay, let's look over here. Passing, Virgil Carter, 11-30, 162 yards, 1 TD, was sacked 4 times. Sam Weish, on the fake field goal, it's 39-yard touchdown pass. Phillips and Virgil Carter were your rushing leaders for Cincinnati. Receiving, Chip Myers had the yardage. Speedy Thomas and Bruce Coslett had the touchdowns. Your total offense numbers for the Cincinnati Bengals. Defense, Ken Avery, 10 tackles, 2 for loss, and one of those was a sack. Chomzansky, 4 of his 5 tackles were for loss. Bill Berge grabbed an interception. Mulman had a less than usual day. Missing field goals. One of those was a short one that he shanked. David Lewis, 50-yard was his longest. 2 inside the 20. Good average. Lamar Parrish, Paul Robinson on kick returns. Now here is that I thought the momentum was going to swing after this. That 71-yard touchdown punt return by Lamar Parrish. Washington, Sonny Jurgensen, the veteran, 16 out of 32, 228 yards, a touchdown, an interception. Was sacked once. Larry Brown got 81 yards rushing, but boy, 3 touchdowns. Receiving, Larry Brown almost 100 yards receiving. Walter Roberts, he had the other touchdown. And the total offense numbers for the Washington Redskins and their victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. Bit of an upset. Washington defense, Hamburger, 7 tackles and a sack. Peters, 6 tackles and a sack. Hoffman, 3 tackles and a sack. Bruce Anderson, he got a sack. Marlon McKeever picked up a fumble. Kurt Knight missed a field goal early in the game. Bragg's day was a little on the busy side. 45 yards was the longest. Out of the 8 punts, 6 of them were inside the 20 to pin the Bengals. Factor in Harris in their kick return duties. Robertson, Harris returning punts. Washington gets back into some winning ways with a 28-24 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. So let's head back here. Let's look at the standings. And the NFC East, you have St. Louis pulling away. Washington has won 4 in a row. Is Washington for real? Dallas is looking less and less like a sure thing. In your Central, battle between Minnesota and Detroit. Green Bay within striking distance. Out west, you got the Rams, Niners hot on their tail. In the AFC East, Jets still on top, but Miami and Baltimore closing in. Boston 0-6 and giving up points. They are giving up more points, I think, than any team in this replay. Yes, they are. In the Central Division of the AFC, with that loss, gives Pittsburgh a little bit of breathing room. Surprising Houston Oilers, even though they've lost 3, I thought they would be a more of a team with maybe 1 win, given their shortcomings. Cleveland being 1-4-1 that's a bit of a surprise. Out west, Kansas City is holding on to first place. Denver, San Diego, they're all at 500. So they're kind of right there. But yeah, let's see. Stingy looking at defensive numbers just real quick. Let's look here. Minnesota, stingy defense. Points allowed 42. Los Angeles 48. Kansas City's defense only 41. Well, that will do it for the Week 6 highlights for the 1970 NFL season replay in Pro Strategy Football. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. I have plans for the channel to introduce some new games. I'm working to see if I can get some interviews and some previews of some new products that are coming out for the sports sim fan. So keep an eye on the channel. Subscribe. Hit that little button down there. And with that, I hope you're having a great day wherever you are, and look forward to week 7.